So we're moving on to part 2 of the video series on spreadsheets. We looked at part 1, which was spreadsheet basics, and now we're going on to part 2, where we will be performing calculations and inserting a chart. So we have here our monthly income total, which is $750, and I'm just going to put that in red and bold. And we see that that is in information, or that data is in cell B2. Let's insert a formula to calculate the total for week 1. So if we were to calculate the total for week 1, and it would be the total of food, stationery, traveling, and miscellaneous. So we want to identify the cells with the data for calculation. So we're gonna start putting in our formula, and as I told you all in the spreadsheet basics, we always start with the equal sign. And the first cell we want to identify with the data would be B5. So it would be B5. We're going to add C5, which will be the cell containing stationery, D5, sorry, I forgot my addition sign, D5, and we also want to add E5 and hit enter. So when we hit enter, we see that the total of spent in week 1 was $345. If we look at our formula bar, here we're going to see the formula that was entered to give us this total. That's one of the ways to calculate total. Let's calculate the total for week 2. We can use the Autosum function, and we don't want the sum of F5, which would be this total here. So we would like to get the Autosum for these cells. So we select the range of cells, and the range will be B6 to E6. Click Autosum, and here we have the total for week 2 appearing. So if we look at the formula bar, we're going to see equals sum B6 to E6, and B6 colon E6 is the range of cells B6 to E6. So I'm just going to fill these cells with the totals, right? And let me undo that so you can see what I did. I clicked in this black box area here and dragged to fill the cells with the same formula, or the Autosum function. So in cell F5, we entered the range of cells by identifying each one and separating them with the addition sign. In cell F6, we used the Autosum function, and the Autosum function would have identified sum, which is the function, and given the range B6 to E6. And then we copied that formula into cell F7, which gave us the sum for range B7 to E7, and F8, which gave us the sum for B8 to E8. So here we have our totals for week 1, week 2, week 3, and week 4. And that's how you do the sum calculation in Excel. To demonstrate the subtraction function, let's look at how much savings the student would have saved in this month. Okay, so the first thing I did was I changed the monthly income to $1,000 because the monthly expenditure was $885. So to demonstrate the student's savings, we are going to enter the formula that will tell us how much money was saved this month. And remember our golden rule: when entering formulae, we always start with the equal sign. And we want to find the difference between the expenditure and the income. So it will be We look to see where we have the income figure, which will be cell B2 equal B2. And where do we have the monthly total? It would be in F9. So B2 subtract F9 and hit enter. So in this month, the student saved $115. So that's an example of how we use the subtraction function in Excel. Now let's calculate the average, or let's see how we use the average function. To determine the average amount that the student spent on food, let's say for the month, we input the formula for average, and it's equal to average, open brackets, and we insert the range of cells. In this case, for food, it will be B5 to B8. So average B5 colon B8. And here we have 98.75, which would be the average amount that the student spent on food for this month. Calculating the minimum and maximum amount spent on an item or on a group of items or on a particular category is done the same way. The minimum amount, for example, that the student would have spent on stationery, we enter equal min, open brackets, and in this case it would be the range cell C5 to C8. So the minimum amount spent on stationery would be $0, and the maximum amount, let's calculate the maximum spent on miscellaneous, equal sign, max, and we enter E5. You can also enter individual numbers here, as you see here. So it will be E5, comma, E6, etc. Let's go with the range of cells, which is E5 to E8. So the maximum amount spent on miscellaneous items for the month would be $35. So here we have totals calculated. We have savings, where we use the subtraction function. The average spent on food, where we use the average function. The minimum spent on stationery, and the maximum spent on miscellaneous. Now we're going to look at inserting a chart to display some of the information. When inserting a chart or inserting some form of graph or pictorial representation of the data in your spreadsheet, it's important to remember to select the information that you would like to be displayed in the graph or chart. So here I'm selecting the range of cells A4 to F8, and then in the insert menu, click the insert menu, and there are a range of charts. So we have here the column chart or bar chart, the hierarchy chart, we have waterfall, funnel, stock, etc. The program will recommend a chart or recommend the best chart to suit your data. However, for the purpose of this simple spreadsheet exercise, we are going to insert a simple column chart. And in this case, it's a clustered column. So I'm just moving the chart out of the way so that we could have a look at the data that the chart represents. So if we look at the chart together with the data, we are going to see the weeks identified: week 1, week 2, week 3, and week 4. The amount spent on food, stationery, traveling, miscellaneous, and the total amounts spent on each item for the week, for the different weeks. Chart title can be changed by simply clicking in the area and changing it. So we have monthly income and expenditure, and here we have the chart which displays the information or the data on the student's monthly income and expenditure for that particular month. Okay, so I hope that you have understood all the information that you have seen in these videos. If you need, please recap, please review, and good luck to you all.